So we have finished first 100 verses. Most of the text is over. And as I said in the last class, now we are dwelling on the Nididhyasanam portion. So we will chant verse 101, Aparoksha Anubhuti. Please unmute yourself. Nityabhyasadrute praptihi.
नित्याभ्यासाद्रते प्राप्तिः
न भवेत् सच्चिदात्मनः
न भवेत् सच्चिदात्मनः
न भवेत् सच्चिदात्मनः
न भवेत् सच्चिदात्मनः
तस्मात् ब्रह्म निदिध्यासेत्
तस्मात् ब्रह्मनिदिध्यासे
जिज्ञासु श्रेयसे चिरम्
जिज्ञासु श्रेयसे चिरम्.
So we are saying nitya abhyasat rite. So rite means rite is a negation, and therefore nitya abhyasa rite, without the regular practice of nididhyasanam. Abhyasa here is practice of nididhyasanam. Without regular practice of nididhyasanam, Satchit Atmanaha Prapti na Bhavet. You will never be able to acquire the Atman. In other words, in our language, you will never be able to say with conviction, Aham Brahmasmi. Therefore, the practice of Nididhyasanam is not just, 1 hour in the morning or once in a week. It is every day, day in, day out. Whenever your mind is not engaged in transactional activity, obviously when you're driving, you can't be practicing Nididhyasana, right? You can't say everybody is Brahman and carry on. Therefore, while the mind is required for transactions, mind should be there. Whenever mind is not required for transactions, Nitya Abhyasat. Therefore, Tasmat, therefore, Jignasuhu, the one who is seeking moksha, what should he do? Brahma Nididhyaset. They should meditate on Brahman. In fact, when you say meditate on Brahman, what does it mean? It means meditate on all the scriptural teachings. So Brahma Satyam, we have this particular saying, right? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Brahma Satyam meditation is Nididhyasanam. Jagan Mithya meditation is also Nididhyasanam. Any attempt that we make to try to understand the teaching of the scriptures, to try to assimilate it, that is nothing but Nididhyasanam. And how long should you do it? Chiram. Chiram means for a very long time, very continuously, you should do it. What is the benefit? Shreyase, for getting moksha. So, we said that Shankara said there are 15 angas. Some of them are borrowed from Yoga Shastram. Some of them he has interpreted. In fact, if you look at what is going to come now, the interpretations in the Yoga Shastra of the Angas, Shankara does not accept. He reinterprets all the Angas from a Vedantic point of view. And therefore, for a Vedantic seeker, these are the Angas, not the Ashtangas which are contained in Yoga Sutra. So let us look at the first few. We will chant verse number 102 and 103 together. In these two verses, he gives the various angas. So, please unmute yourself. Yamo hi niyamastyagaha.
यमो हि नियमस्त्यागः
Maunam deshascha kalata.
मौनं देशश्च कालता
Asanam mulabandhascha.
आसनं मूलबन्धश्च
बन्धश्च
देहसाम्यं च दृक्स्थितिः
देहसाम्यं च दृक्स्थितिः
प्राणसंयमनश्चैव
प्राणसंयमनं चैव
चैव
त्याहारश्च धारणा
प्रत्याहारश्च धारणा
आहारश्च धारणा
आत्मध्यानं समाधिश्च
आत्मज्ञानं समाधिश्च
आत्मज्ञानसमाधिश्च
उक्तान्यङ्गानि वैक्रमात्
प्रोक्तान्यङ्गानि
प्रोक्तान्यङ्गानि
वैक्रमात्
वैक्रमात्.
So in these two verses, Shankaracharya just gives the list of all the 15 angas, the 15 limbs. The actual explanations will start later. What are these 15 limbs? Yamohi Niyamatyagaha. The first one is Yama, second one is Niyama, third one is Tyagaha. So you will find that they don't correspond to the Yoga Sutras, obviously, because we have 15 here, while Yoga Sutras have only 8. So first three are Yama, Niyama, Tyagaha, represented by the quarter line Yamohi Niyamastyagaha. Then we have the second part of it, which says Maunam Deshascha Kalata. So Maunam, Deshaha, and Kalaha. Maunam is silence. Deshaha means what? Space. Kalaha means time. So silence, space, and time. These are not there in Yoga Sutras. That's 6. Then Asanam Mula Bandhascha. So asanam, 7th one, posture. Mula bandha, again not in the Yoga Sutras. Mula bandha is the yogic bandha, where you lock the anus, type of hold for disciplining the body. That bandha, one of the bandhas is called Mula bandha. He talks about that. That's 7, 8. Deha samyam cha drik sthiti. Deha samyam is the steadiness of the body. The body should be in a steady state. And drik sthiti, you can understand the steadiness of the vision, of the gaze. Your eyes should not be wandering here or there. Then prana sanyamana chaiva is another name for prana, pranayama, prana sanyam, control over the prana, which we call pranayama in Yoga Sutras. That is number 11. Then we have pratyaharascha dharana. Number 12 is pratyahara, withdrawal of the mind. Number 13 is dharana, focusing the mind on the object. Then atma dhyanam samadhischa. Atma dhyanam is contemplation on the self. It is maintaining the mind upon the object which you have chosen. That is number 14. And complete absorption is called samadhi, 15. So remember that in dhyana, in dhyanam and samadhi, the only difference is that in dhyanam there is a deliberate effort involved. So the Triputi is known. I am meditating upon the object. The Triputi is known. In samadhi, that effort is not there and there is a spontaneous absorption. This is called samadhi. And proktan angani vaikrama. Angani proktan means these are the topics which I am going to discuss. Vaikramat. Not only is the number of topics, number 15 of them important, but kramat, the sequence is also important in this regard. Okay, so this is the introductory verse. Now will come individual definitions. So let us chant verse number 104. You will find this, those of you who are familiar with Yoga Shastra, and most of us are, we'll find it very interesting as we see the difference in interpretation that Shankaracharya takes. So, verse number 104. Sarvam Brahmeti Vijnanat
सर्वं ब्रह्मेति विज्ञानात्
इंद्रियग्राम संयमः
इन्द्रियग्राम संयमः
यमो यमिति संप्रोक्तः
यमोऽयमिति सम्प्रोक्तः
अभ्यसनीयो मुहुर्मुहुः
अभ्यसनीयो मुहुर्मुहुः
So the idea, which some people may not like, but it's not my idea. It is Shankaracharya's idea being conveyed here that Yoga Shastra, the Yama of Yoga Shastra, is meant for whom? For a Manda, Madhyama, Adhikari. For people who are beginners and maybe slightly better than beginners. And Yama has 4 components. What are they? The Yama of Yoga Shastra has 4 components.
Ahimsa, Satya,
Ahimsa, Asteya, Brahmacharya, and Aparigraha.
Okay. Do we need to explain or does everybody know? Okay, so we will take it for granted that everybody knows. Now, this is the Yama of Yoga Shastra. What about Shankaracharya's view, Vedantic Yama? So this is the difference. There is a Yoga Shastra Yama and there is a Vedantic Yama. What is Vedantic Yama? So he says Indriya Grama Sanyamaha. The withdrawal of the group of sense organs. Gramam means a village or group. Indriya Gramam means the group of sense organs, which means all your sense organs, all that. What should you do? Sanyamaha. Control and withdraw. And not withdraw through an effort of will. How do you withdraw? Sarvam Brahmeti Vijnana. Because you are seeing Brahman everywhere. There is no Shabda other than Brahman. There is no Sparsha other than Brahman. There is no Rupa other than Brahman. There is no Rasa other than Brahman. There is no Gandha other than Brahman. There is no sense object other than Brahman. It is in that sense, because there is no sense objects, where are the sense organs? So it is in that meaning that Shankara says, Sarvam Brahmeti Vijnanat is Yama. The withdrawal of your sense organs because you are unable to see anything other than Brahman. Right? Sense objects are not there. So where is the sense organ at all? And what should you do? Abhyasaniyo, you should practice this muhur muhuhu again and again. And this practice, yamo yamiti samproktaha. This is called the Yamaha of Vedanta. Okay, any questions? Those are all very interesting topics. I know many of you are staunch followers of Yoga Shastra. So you are going to be hit on the head by Shankaracharya just now. It's not my fault, it's Shankara's fault, okay? So what do you think of this particular definition of Yama? It puts the Yoga Shastra Yama on its head. Okay? Right. Now we go to the next verse, verse number 105. We will chant. Sajatiya pravahascha
जातीय प्रवाहश्च
vijatiyatiraskriतिः
जातीयतिरस्कृतिः
तिरस्कृतिः
नियमो हि परानन्दः
नियमो हि
परानन्दः
आनन्दः
नियमात् क्रियते बुधैः
नियमात्
नियमात्
क्रियते
क्रियते बुधैः
So second one is, first one was Yama, second one is Niyama. The Niyama of Yoga Shastra is what? Shavacha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara, Pranidhanam. Okay, I'm assuming that you are all familiar. Now Shankaracharya says, no, 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 let us not go there. We are not Yoga Shastric fellows. So he says, Sajatiya Pravahascha. Sajatiya means about one species only. Sajatiya. About one species only, about one entity only. Pravaha is a flow of thoughts. A flow of sequential flow of thoughts is called pravaha, flow. So Sajatiya Pravaha, the constant flow of thoughts about Brahman only. So this Jati here is basically one entity. One entity is the only entity, which is Brahman. Therefore, the Vedantic interpretation of the Niyama is what? All the time, consciously or at the subconscious level, your mind should be carrying the thought about Brahman only. Of course, I'll add again, whenever your mind is not engaged in worldly transactions, what naturally arises should be vritti, thoughts of Brahman alone. When your mind is engaged in a transaction, obviously, you may have Brahman at the back of your mind, but the mind is literally has to engage with the body because the body and mind are required for transactions. So that part is excluded. And that is why so much of importance is given to time when you are not doing something, because that time is available for these activities. And therefore, sajatiya pravahascha, whenever your mind is not engaged in transactions, the thoughts which arise in your mind should not be of Pizza Hut. They should be of Brahman alone. This flow of Vedantic thought all the time should occupy your mind. What about other thoughts? Vijatiyaha. Thoughts about things other than Brahman. Tiraskritihi. Tiraskritihi is basically a loss of priority, or you can say avoiding. So, avoiding or reducing the importance of thoughts not connected to Brahman, right? All transactions have to be done, but knowing fully well that transactions are mithya, satyam should become important. The mithya transaction should fade in importance. That's why tiraskriti. He is not saying don't do them. They should lose priority. They should fade in importance. The shifting of priority from transactional priority as predominant to Brahma Vritti as predominant, that is Nididhyasana. And therefore it says Niyamo hi Paranandaha. When this kind of activity, what kind of activity? Brahma Vritti, thinking about Brahman, when that becomes predominant, Paranandaha, then you get Ananda becomes dominant in your life. You will be at peace always. And that is why you should always do Nididhyasanam. Because Nididhyasanam gives you access to your unlimited Ananda. Not to reflected Ananda, but to the original Ananda. That is why, and if you remember, long ago we discussed why people do any activity. It is to become happy, right? Why should you do any activity to become happy when you have Nididhyasanam to tap your source of original Ananda? And that's why, people who take sannyas, they are called so and so Ananda because they are always supposed to be in Nididhyasana and they were always supposed to be tapping the Ananda. Whether they do that or not is another matter. But the fact is that is the logic. That is why you have Sanchinmayananda, Paramananda, Paramarthananda. All of them are people who are supposed to be Nididhyasanam always. And then he says, Niyamat Kriyate Budaihi. Budaihi, the wise person, he practices this Niyamat Kriyate. He practices this Niyama. This Niyama means what? The Niyama of remembering Brahman all the time. Nididhyasanam. And that niyama is what? Sajatiya pravahascha. Remembering Brahman all the time. So he has given different definition for yama niyama, which is more relevant for people like us, right? Okay, now verse number 106. We will chant. Yagah prapancharupasya
त्यागः
त्यागः
प्रपञ्चरूपस्य
प्रपञ्चरूपस्य
चिदात्मावलोकनात्
चिदात्मावलोकनात्
चिदात्मत्वावलोकनात्
चिदात्मावलोकनात्
अवलोकनात्
यागो हि महतां पूज्यः
त्यागो
यागो हि
हि
महतां
महतां
पूज्यः
सद्यो मोक्षमयो यतः
सद्यो मोक्षमयो
मोक्षमयो
यतः
यतः
So Tyaga is normally not there in the eight Ashtanga Yoga, Ashtangas. But what is the normal meaning of Tyaga? It means sannyasa. Right? And sannyasa means it's a ritualistic process of renouncing. Now, when we talk about sannyasa, all of us say sannyasi is renounced. And if you say, what is sannyasi renounced? What would you say?
Worldly pleasures are renounced.
Okay. Anybody else?
Sansara?
So, Raviji, may I try?
Please, Nataraj, boliye.
I think he has renounced the Raga Dvesha mainly.
He has renounced Raga Dvesha also. Anybody else?
Acharya ji,
Fire.
Ahankar and Mamakar, body, mind, sense complex.
Okay.
Sorry, can I add one more?
He's also renounced fire,
He
like
renounced
from
fire.
day-to-day transactions.
Hitachi.
He renounced Mamakara.
Okay.
Ahankara and Mamakara both.
Lot
No,
of good ideas. Yes,
Raviji.
Nataraj.
He has also renounced all the urmis.
Okay. Shadurumi is here renounced. And Nataraj, boliye.
Yeah, I think karma, unnecessary karma also, I think, should be included in renunciation. The
Unnecessary
amount.
karma. So wonderful. A good list has been there. But my point is, sannyasa is a ritualistic process. There is a procedure. There are some mantras chanted. Overnight you stay with Gayatri chanting, blah, blah, blah. Then the guru takes you to a river. And then he says, you take off your clothes and walk into the river, walk away. So you throw all your clothes into the river and you walk away. Then guru calls you back and says, okay, fine, here are sannyasa. The procedure is there. So process. Why is there a ritualistic process?
Antim karma. Sannyasi performs his own antim karma before sannyasa.
Why is there a ritual? Why can't you just get up and say, okay, fine, I'm a sannyasi from today onwards?
No, he just renounces his body.
No, my point is, can I for tomorrow morning, can I get up and say, okay, from 601, I am a sannyasi?
You have to have permission from your family and other members.
Anyway, my wife will give me permission, no problem. I don't want my daughter, but okay, let us say that I have all the permissions. I have all the permissions writing, sealed, delivered. Can I still stand up and say, no, I'm
I
taking
think
sannyasa?
Shankaracharya has.
Sorry. Yeah, please.
Shankaracharya has. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I just meant to say that maybe it's to ensure that the process is irreversible and he has to be firm about what step he's going to take. Sannyasa.
See, a lot of you guys said karma, right?
Maybe the fact that when the act is done, it kind of reinforces that also to your own mind. The whole process is like a reinstation of that what you are trying to do internally is also replicated externally for the sake of oneself as well as for the society to understand that this person has now officially entered a particular state where he need not be anymore now disturbed, and he is announcing that he is dedicating his whole life to this path of sannyasa.
Okay, let me ask a question. Who is eligible to do Vaidika karma?
Grihastha.
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 When does he become eligible?
After
After
he has
marriage.
had Brahmopadesha. That's
After
Upanayana.
Brahmopadesha, Upanayanam ceremony. Right? So Upanayanam ceremony is a ceremony where the Guru, gives you permission, basically, gives you the sacred thread. Unless you have that sacred thread, you are not eligible for Vaidika karma. Right? Therefore, it's like an application which you give for a job. That please let me, I will do my job properly and all that. So this is application you are giving to Shastram. Please let me do my Vajika karma. And Shastram says, fine, here is sacred thread. Now you can do Vajika karma. That is the formal taking on of the responsibility of Vajika karma. And Shastram says that you cannot, not do. Once you take the responsibility, then there is Nitya Naimita karma, which is prescribed in Shastram, in Karma Kanda. And you have to do it. If you don't do it, what happens?
Satyavaya papam. Satyavaya papam.
Right. Therefore, once you have taken on the responsibility of doing that karma by taking on the Upanayanam, you have no choice but to do that throughout your life. Shastra gives only one exception. That is, you formally renounce it. And that formal renunciation is called your sannyasa. Right? So, anybody who has not taken Upanayanam, right, he is not eligible for Vajika karma. All of us, I don't know how many, I have not taken, okay? So, I am already a sannyasi because I have never started the karma itself. Anybody who has not done Upanayanam, he is not eligible for Vajika karma at all. Only a person who has done Upanayanam can take sannyasa. Because unless you are applied, how can you resign? Sannyasa is resignation from your role of doing Vajika karma. Okay, in the case of ladies, there is no Upanayanam. What is the corresponding ceremony? Ladies can do Vajika karma.
Marriage.
Marriage. Right? Marriage is the corresponding ceremony. So going by that logic, an unmarried girl cannot take sannyasa. Now the problem is that these things are no longer relevant. I'm just telling you that in case somebody talks about it. Therefore, when a person gets Upanayanam, he takes upon himself the responsibility. It's a promise that I'm giving Shastram, that I will do all the Nitya karmas and Naimita karmas, and I will avoid all the Nishiddha karmas, because I will otherwise incur Pratyavaya papam. And Vivaha is the Shastric contract, similar Shastric contract, which is given for the girl. This promise cannot be broken except in a ritualistic manner, and that is called sannyasa. Okay. But supposing most of us have family life. I can pursue Vedanta, I can take to Shastric study, and I can do this without needing sannyasa. So taking sannyasa is not at all compulsory. But if one has to take to sannyasa, one should be a grahastha. One should have formally taken on the responsibility of Vajika karma. Then only you can resign. You can't resign what you don't have. Right? For such a person, there is no tarpanam, no shraddham, no daily karma. This is the normal meaning of tyaga. Okay. Why I have given such a big thing is not because Shankaracharya will talk about it. This is the normal meaning of sannyasa. And we should know who takes sannyasa, who is eligible for sannyasa. There are a lot of people who say, I became a sannyasi. Who was your guru? I don't know. Nobody was a guru. I just got up and somebody told me Tattvamasi, and then I am sannyasi on tomorrow onwards. It's not like that. You should have first of all been performing Vajika karma. You know what is the purpose of sannyasa? Once a grihastha takes upon himself the responsibility of performing Vaidika karma, Remember that those karmas are varied. Your entire day will be spent in karmas. There's morning karma, afternoon karma, evening karma, hundreds of karmas are there. Nimitta karmas. So because of so much of karma, you don't have time for Vedic study. Really trying to understand Vedas. That is why in those days, sannyasa was given as a very strong option, because if you are stuck all the time in Vedic karma, where is the time to do jnanam? And therefore, a person who got fed up was required to renounce the grahastha life, take up sannyasa, and then do study. Okay. Now, of course, that is not necessary, but this is the background. Okay. Now, Shankaracharya here gives a completely different definition. He doesn't say it is a sannyasa ashrama, the fourth ashrama. He doesn't say that. He says that sannyasa means jnana sannyasa, internal renunciation through jnanam. What is that? How do you renounce anatman? When you say I am Brahman, what are you saying? When you say I am Atma, you are saying I am not Anatma, right? And you can therefore, it's like somebody wants you to renounce that rope snake, right? He says there's a rope snake sitting in front of you, and I tell you, Spandana, renounce that rope snake. What is the only way you have?
To claim the rope for what it is.
By knowing that there is no snake other
No
than
snake.
rope. To claim the rope as a rope. Just like by saying that this is gold, I am saying there is no ornament other than gold. And here, as a grahastha, you may be a grahastha, but if you are able to apply this logic and look at your wife and say, there is Brahman, it's not easy, it's possible. Look at a wife and say, this is Brahman. Look at parents and say, these are Brahman. Look at the children and say, these are Brahman. Especially if the child is wailing his head off, it's more difficult to say you're Brahman, but you have to say, no, he's Brahman. You say, my house is Brahman. Nothing else is there other than Brahman. This is sannyasa according to Shankaracharya. So he says, prapancha rupasya tyagaha. The renunciation or the understanding of the world as mithya is to be done. How? Chidatmatva avalokanat. Avalokanat is method of looking. Okay. Chidatmatva avalokana. By looking at the world as nothing other than Atma. So the renunciation of the world has to be done by understanding that the world is nothing other than Brahman. There is no substance called the world. The substance is Brahman only. And for such a person, Tyago hi mahatam pujyaha. This internal renunciation is honored, pujyaha, by people who are wise, mahatam, by great people. Great people will honor such a person who is able to renounce the world with the understanding that there is really nothing to renounce. You understand? The renunciation of the world, you are not renouncing anything at all. You are only saying that the world is nothing other than Brahman. This is a small little verse from, I think, this Drik Drishya Viveka, giving the same idea. Do you remember? Anybody? I'll give the first line. Yatra yatra manoyati.
Tatra tatra samadhaya.
Tatra tatra samadhaya. Wherever the mind goes, it is in samadhi only, right? Where is the question of renunciation? Samadhi means vision of Brahman is there. This is the idea being conveyed, a very beautiful idea that you don't have to really renounce anything. Don't go and wear those yellow clothes. Don't go and go around the world and say, fine, I'm a sannyasi, I'm not doing anything else. Just understand that there is no world at all. So the negation of this adhyastha jagat, superimposed universe, is called sannyasa. And if this inner renunciation is not there, you may have taken sannyasa from the biggest guru in the world, but you will continue to be a samsari. This internal renunciation is what gives moksha. And therefore he says, yataha sadhyo mokshamayaha. This internal viewpoint that there is no world other than Brahman, it gives you immediate moksha. So Shankaracharya is defining nididhyasanam in a different way, right? He says it is only an awareness, not involving any specific action at all. The awareness that the world is Brahman, that is nididhyasana. Again, a very refined definition of nididhyasana. We say, study the scriptures, meditate upon the scriptures. Shankaracharya says, no. Just stick to the viewpoint. What I am seeing in front of me is Brahman alone. That is nididhyasanam. That is how you get 24/7 by 365 nididhyasanam. There is no other way. Okay. Any questions so far? All very beautiful definition. The entire set of 40 odd verses, are nididhyasanam specific verses. And one should be there with full understanding. You will find your Vedantic journey is much, much simpler. Okay, verse number 7. We will chant. Yasma acho nivartante.
Yasmadvacho nivartante
Aprapya manasa saha.
manasa saha
Yan maunam yogibhirgamyam.
yan maunam yogivirgamyam
Bhavet sarvada buddha.
bhavet sarvada buddha.
So if you look at the list of 15 angas, this is the fourth one, Maunam. And Shankaracharya spends a lot of time on this. He gives 3 different meanings. So first I will give you the overview of the 3 meanings, and then we'll discuss the verses, right? So Shankaracharya says the first meaning of the word Maunam is that which is found in Mandukya Upanishad. What is that? What is the meaning of Maunam there?
Yeah.
Turyam.
Turya.
Yeah.
Amatra.
Amatra, right? You have the 3 matras and the amatra, there which no matra is there. So silence, that word maunam is indicated by the amatra of Mandukya, which means Brahman itself. And when you talk about silence itself, so this is also another very interesting idea. We normally say silence is only one type. But if you think about it, apply your mind, you will see that there are 2 types of silences. One silence which can be eliminated by sound, right? So when we are, for example, sitting early morning in meditation with silence, suddenly the dog starts barking. Silence is gone, and therefore this silence is a displaceable silence which can be eliminated by the arrival of any sound. And the departure of that sound will again bring back the silence. Therefore, this first type of silence is subject to arrival and departure. So we can call it apekshika maunam, relative silence. Now you can guess what is the other silence?
Atyantika.
Atyantika maunam. It is the silence of Brahman, which cannot be displaced by anything. So silence which belongs at Vyavaharika level is displaced by sound belonging to Vyavaharika level. Right? To give an example, take two levels. One is Vyavaharika and one is Pratibhasika. Pratibhasika is a dream. Now you are sleeping with your partner in your room. Both are asleep. You are, you have been reading too many books. So you are having a dream where you are traveling in a spaceship. And then there's a huge sound of a supernova exploding. That sound shakes up your dream. Your ears are vibrating with that sound. Does your partner hear it? The silence of your
Obviously.
bedroom cannot be disturbed by the silence, by the noise in your dream. Right? That is an example. It's a limited example. If you take two levels of reality, the silence of the higher level cannot be disturbed by the sound in the lower level. You have to apply that further. Paramarthika, which is higher than Vyavaharika, Paramarthika silence cannot be disturbed by Vyavaharika noise. This is called Atyantika Mauna. Right? Why can there be, why can you say that, why can you cannot say that, okay, there may be some Paramarthika noise which may disturb the Paramarthika Maunam? What is the argument which you will give if somebody asks you this question?
At that level, there is no speech, no sound.
Brahman is free from Karmendriya.
There is only Brahman.
Brahman doesn't have Indriyas at all. No Karmendriyas, no Vagendriyas. He is incapable of talking, right? Incapable of moving. So there's no noise at all. Therefore, Brahman is silence only, right? So that's one meaning. Then the second meaning of the word Maunam is the understanding. This is a very nice meaning. Understanding that the entire Jagat has only two things. What are they?
Maya Brahman.
Brahman and
Brahman.
Maya.
Brahman and Maya. Can you explain Maya with words?
No, it's Anirvachaniya.
Very difficult.
Both are
Nirvachan.
unirvachaniyam.
Nirvachaniyam. Can you explain Brahman with words?
No, not at all.
Also
Cannot.
difficult.
So neither Maya or Brahman can be explained in words. Brahman because it is featureless, and Maya because it is anirvachaniya. Right? Since words cannot be used at all, that also is a meaning of silence. Right? That's why we say Yasmat Vacho Nivartante Aprapya Manasa Saha. From that Brahman, the words return. Yasmat Vacho Nivartante. From that Brahman, words return, which means Brahman cannot be expressed, described by using words. Also, Aprapya Manasa Saha. Along with the mind, it comes back. Not only the words come back, the mind also comes back, because Brahman is not available for the mind to conceive. In other words, Brahman cannot be talked about at all. What about Maya? If anybody remembers Vivek Chudamani class long ago, we talked about the fact that Maya is not available for classification, either as existing or non-existing, either as Satyam or as Mithya. The deeper you go into Maya, the more confusing everything becomes. That is why Maya is called Anirvachaniya. And therefore, in this case, Brahman cannot be described. Brahman is Anirvachaniya. Maya cannot be described. Maya is Nirvachaniya. This understanding of mind that the entire creation is nothing but Maya and Brahman cannot be categorically explained using words. Therefore, the knowledge that I have about Brahman and Maya is said to be beyond words. Okay, it doesn't mean that I can't talk, okay? Because I have to talk to be able to convey the ideas. And the biggest task of the teacher is what? That he has to use words to teach Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, even though he knows all the time that words cannot convey anything about Brahman or about Maya. Knowing the limitation of these words is Mauna. But remember that greater than the teacher is a great guy because he is explaining what cannot be explained using words. But greater than the teacher is a student. Why? Because he is able to extract the meaning of what the teacher has said in words which cannot give the meaning. Therefore, the competent student is a great blessing for the teacher because he has extracted from his words what could not be conveyed by those words. This limitation is also Mauna. Okay. Then there is a third definition. This is standard. Vak Vyapara Varjanam. What does it mean? Vak Vyapara Varjanam.
Not using your speech.
Not talking.
Not talking. Simply not talking. So that, of course, is one of the definitions, right? So the idea is that when you don't talk, you use that time to contemplate, right? So yan maunam, that maunam is Brahman, from which Brahman vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Words come back along with the thoughts because they are not able to objectify Brahman as a entity. Obviously, because you are Brahman, right? Words cannot objectify Brahman. Why? Because Brahman is not the object. Brahman is you, the subject. This is what is meant by Brahman is Mauna. And yet, Yogi Gamyam. This kind of Brahman can be Gamyam. Gamyam means achieved, going to or achieved. This Brahman can be achieved only by a yogi, a jnani. And that Brahman is called Maunam Brahmaha. And Buddha Sarvada Tad Bhavet. A jnani is always that kind of Brahman because it is very nature. Okay, so this is the first definition I talked about. First silence. Okay. Then we go to the second definition, which we will chant. Verse number 108. Vacho yasman nivartante.
Vacho
Vacho yasman
निवर्तन्ते
Advoktum kena shakyate.
tadvaktum
तद्वक्तुं
kena
केन न
shakyate
शक्यते
Apancho yadi vaktavyah.
prapancho yadi
प्रपञ्चो
vaktavyah
यदि वक्तव्यः
Sopi shabda vivarjitah.
sopi shabda
शब्दविवर्जितः
This is the second definition which I talked about. Second definition is what? Yatha vacho, yasmat vacho nivartante. So here he says, vachaha yasmat nivartante. Words cannot explain Brahman. So it is as if words have come back from Brahman. And then he says, tat kena vaktum shakyate. Who can explain that Brahman verbally? Nobody can. And SPG says very nicely, Brahman defined is Brahman defiled. You know, the Brahman whom you can define is not a real Brahman at all. You have defiled him already. A beautiful sentence. Okay. Then he says, Prapancho yadi vaktavyaha. Supposing I try to explain Prapanchaha, the world. Saha api shabda vivarjitaha. That is also beyond verbal explanation. It is not Sat, it is not Asat, it is Mithya only. Brahman is not explainable, Maya is not explainable. This understanding is also called Maunam. This is the second one. Then the third one, we will go to verse number 109. Iti va tad bhavin maunam
Iti
इति
va
वा तद्भवेन्मौनम्
tatam sahaja sangitam
तं सहजसंज्ञितं
giram maunam tu balanam
गिरा मौनं तु बालानां
yuktam brahmavadibihi.
युक्तं ब्रह्मवादिभिः
So this line actually, itiva tad bhaven maunam satam sahajam sangitam. This is actually should be part of the second verse or the previous verse. It is a completion of the definition. What is the definition? Iti. Iti refers to what was said in the last verse. This understanding that both Brahman and Maya are not explainable, tad bhavet maunam. This is called maunam. And satam. Who understands this? Satam is Sat. Jnani is alone. Only Jnani understand this. And for the Jnani, Sahaja Sangitam. It is natural to them to understand. Why? Because even as they talk, they understand that there is a limitation of words in conveying ideas as far as Brahman is concerned and as far as Maya is concerned. But they still talk because there is no known method of communication other than words. Of course, the grandiosity of the Upanishad that it uses these limited words to communicate unlimited ideas. This is the greatness of our sampradaya. The teacher who uses the words that are not adequate to convey the idea is of course great. But as I said last, the Shishya who understands from these inadequate words the message conveyed, he is a great student. He is greater than the Shishya, right? Because Shishya extracts words, knowledge from words which are not conveying that knowledge. Okay. So it's like, one person coming down the ladder and one person climbing up the ladder, which is tougher. Climbing up is tougher. And therefore, if while talking, the student has not understood, the teacher should never be annoyed because he knows that the instrument which he has used for communication is intrinsically flawed. Words, they are flawed. So he says, Giram Maunam. Gihi is the vak organ of speech. Giram Maunam. We should talk less and less. Talking less and less is called Maunam. Balana. But this is for the Bala, the beginner sadhaka. It's not for the person who is advanced person. Prayuktam Brahmavadibihi. Who says this is for the beginner? Brahmavadibihi. The wise person prescribes this sadhana for the beginner. With that, the three definitions of Manam are over, conveyed over 3 verses. Any questions?
Acharya, because of this word maunam, that a wise person is also referred to as Muni.
Muni. Maunat iti muni. The one who does not talk.
Ji, thank you.
Okay. One who does not talk, not because, because he knows the futility of talking. He is trying to convey what cannot be conveyed by words. Okay, verse number 110. Adavante cha madhye cha
मध्ये च
jano yasminna vidyate
जनो
यस्मिन्न विद्यते
yenedam satatam vyaptam
येनेदं
Enedam
सततं
satatam
व्याप्तं
vyaptam
sadesho vijanah smritaha.
तदेषो
Sadesho
विजनः स्मृतः
Okay, in the list, where did we see the list? In verse 102. In that list, the fifth anga is desha, right? Now, in Ashtanga Yoga, they prescribe this proper place for meditation, a place without people. Secluded place is called desha. And Ashtanga Yoga says, Yoga Shastra says that you should go to meditate in that secluded place. Vijana desha. Jana means people, Vijana means Vina Jana. Vina Jana desha, a secluded place. Of course, today, especially if you're living in a city, I don't know where you will find Vijana. Okay. So he says, Sadesho Vijanaha Smritaha. Now, this is a definition. That Vijanaha Desha, the place where no people are found, which is referred to in Yoga Shastram. Shankaracharya says, you don't have to go try to find it. Even if you're living in Tokyo, where in Tokyo it's very difficult to find places to live, or where you can't find people. So he says, but that Vijana Desh is already there with you. What is that?
within myself.
What?
When you understand you are the only one.
Yeah.
Brahman is free from Bhoktru
Any location.
Prapancha. Brahman is free from the three universes. All the janas, all the people are located in the three universes. Since Brahman, you are free from the three universes, where is the question of any janahas over there? So, Vijana Deshaha is Brahman itself. The secluded place is Brahman. You will have a problem finding a secluded place if you look for it outside you. But if you're looking at yourself as Brahman, that place has no individuals. It is Yasmin Janona Vidyate, in which Brahman there are no people at all. And when are there no people? Ado Vantacha Madhyecha. Adaha, Adau, in the beginning, Madhye, in the middle, Ante, in the end. In all the three periods of time, past, present, and future, in that Brahman, there were no people, there are no people, there will never be any people. Therefore, Vijnana Deshaha is where you, the Vedantic seeker, find yourself the moment you accept that I am Brahman. I don't have to go anywhere. The Yoga Shastra yogi will run to a quiet place to discover silence and meditate. But you, the Jnani, can sit in the middle of Chandani Chowk and meditate. Because Chandani Chowk doesn't exist for you at all. You are Brahman. That idea being conveyed is really, really good, okay? And this is what we really need to understand. In fact, Swami Chinmayananda tells a small story to illustrate this, So he says that there is a dog. This dog was, by mistake, one entered those hall of mirrors, hall of mirrors, right? You have mirrors of different sizes. So the moment the dog saw the various mirrors, he saw his various dogs inside the mirrors and started barking at all of them.
Okay.
Okay. And then there was this wise man, not wise, was a man, okay, a jnani man. He was standing there, he laughed at the dog. He said, look at the stupid creature. He's barking at the mirrors. And then Swami Chinmaya said that this man then went home and his wife said something which he didn't like, so he started barking at her. So that same attitude which he had, that the dog can't recognize that the image in the mirror is he himself, he didn't recognize that the wife was none other than he himself. Brahman. So that is the attitude.
Beautiful.
Not
Lovely.
realizing that nothing is there but Brahman. So in the Jnani's vision, everything is abhasa only, reflection only. I alone am there. That's the reason, why moksha is called Kaivalyam. Kaivalyam comes from what? Kevala, only. Okay. Any questions? It's a very interesting portion, this part of Aparoksha Anubhuti. You can meditate upon it for a long time. All right, we'll take one more verse for today. Verse number 111. Kalanat sarvabhutanam
Kalanat
Sarvabhutanam
Brahmadinam nimeshataha
Brahmadinam nimeshataha
Nimeshataha
Kala shabdena nirdishtaha
Kala Shabdena
Shabdena
Nirdishtaha
Nirdishtaha
Chandananda dvayaha
Khandananda Kodvayaha
Kodvayaha
Kala. Kala means time. It comes from the root kal. Dhatu kal. Kal actually means which causes something to happen, to bring about. And that's why it's called kalaha. So the definition of kalaha is actually kalayati sarvam iti kalaha. That which brings about everything. Kalayati sarvam. That is called kalaha. And when does it bring it about? Nimeshataha. In the blink of an eyelid. And what does it bring about? Brahmadinam. Starting from Lord Brahmaji downwards, up to the smallest object in creation, inanimate or animate. This kalaha brings about. And therefore, time is called kalaha because it is responsible for the arrival of the entire creation. Right? Okay. Of course, time is not the only factor. There are one of the various factors. Now, in Yoga Shastra, when you talk about kalaha, Yoga Shastra dealing with meditation, of course. So it's talking about a particular time which is considered ideal for meditation. What time is that?
Brahma Muhurta.
Brahma Muhurat.
Early morning.
Early morning, and that it is said to be ideal because it says that all the devas are unemployed at that point of time, so they're all waiting for you to say, "Oh, good morning." So that is Brahma Muhurat. And in terms of three gunas, you can explain as your sleep has, exhausted your tamas, but you have not become active as yet. So Rajas has not yet really begun, and therefore, what are you? You are sattvic. So this auspicious time is called kalaha, Yoga Shastra, right? What Shankaracharya say? This is the Vedantic explanation. He says Brahman is the ultimate karanam for everything. Therefore, Brahman being Sarva Karana Brahman is called Kalaha. Brahman is Srishtikarta, Sthitikarta, Layakarta. And therefore, Brahman is Kalaha because everything is brought about by Brahman. See the difference. There we said time brings about everything. Here he says even time is brought by Brahman. Right? Time also comes around because of what? Brahman only. Space comes around because of what? Brahman only. Therefore, Brahman is the Srishti Siti Laya Karanam. Brahman himself is therefore the cause of the arrival of time also. Without time, there is no space. Without time, there is no consciousness. Without consciousness, there is no question of space. So time, consciousness, space, all are interlinked. When do all these three resolve? Time,
Mahapralaya.
space resolves every day for you.
Sleep.
Sushupti
Avastha. Sushupti Avastha, time is gone, space is gone, consciousness is gone. Only in Jagrata and Swapna, Desakala arise. In Sushupti, Desakala resolves. Therefore, Desakala, time and space, they resolve into Brahman. Therefore, Brahman is said to be the Adharam, the substratum for Deshakala. Okay, I don't know if you remember this. Some of you have done Kathopanishad. Yasya Brahma Shatram cha Ubhe Bhavata Odanaha Mrityu Yasyopasechanam ka Ittha Yatra Saha. Do you remember? Yasya Brahma, that Brahman, Chashatra cha Ubhe Bhavata Odanaha. The entire creation is what? Odanaha. Food. For whom? For Brahman. Why is it called? Because Brahman swallows everything at the time of Pralaya. Therefore, creation is taken as Annam, food. Right? Because the entire universe is resolved into Brahman, we say Brahman swallows the whole universe. And what is it that which you swallow? Food. Therefore, the whole universe is Annam for Brahman. That's what's said here. Yasya Brahma Shatram cha Ube Bhavata Odanaha. All this is food for Brahman. The world and time are swallowed together by Brahman. And Mrityuhu Upasechanam. Upasechanam is what? It is pickle. Pickle is the side dish. When you eat, just rice and curds, and there is no other sabji, then pickle is used to give it taste. The side dish is pickle. And what is the side dish? The world is swallowed. Together with the world, what is swallowed? Time is swallowed. And therefore, time is supposed to be the upasechanam, the pickle for Brahman. The food is the world. Along with the food, it swallows time also. Therefore, Brahman is the substratum of Desha and Kala itself. That is why, the sun and moon are shown as ornaments on the head of Lord Shiva. Why? Yes, answers are pretty obvious actually. How is time calculated?
representing day and night.
Day and night.
No.
Calculation of time is based on what? The calendars are based on what?
Cycles of the moon.
There are two calendars. Sun, solar calendar, and lunar
And the
calendar.
lunar.
Therefore, time is calculated either on the basis of the sun or the moon. And if time is under control of the Lord, then the sun and moon are also in the control of Lord Shiva, who is the master of time. And therefore, Kala Shabdena Nirdishtaha. By the word Kalaha, Brahman is indicated by the word Kalaha. He Akhandaha. And that Brahman is beyond division. He swallows time. What is it which divides things? Time divides things. In Swapna, there is division. So Shukti Deshakala is swallowed. The Pramata, Pramanam, Pramayam division is there. But in Sushupti, Pramata, Pramanam division is not there. That division is there in waking states and the sleeping states. And the dream states, not sleeping states. Therefore, Anandakaha, because Brahman is Akhandaha, divisionless, it is Anandaha. Right? That divisionless state is Anandaha. Everything which is wonderful in our life is because there is no division. If somebody is really in love with somebody else, he doesn't think of that person as separate from himself. So there is no division. When you give charity, you are not seeing a division between you and the other person. There is compassion. Therefore, you are giving. So wherever there is no division, it is Anandaka. That is Ananda only. And Advayaha. Advaita can be discovered only when this harmonious vision is there. That there is no division at all. So Advaita is possible only when this harmony is discovered in the Vyavaharika universe. There may be multiplicity of things, but if there is harmony, then only functioning is there in order. Like a body, hundreds of parts, but functioning in harmony. Hence, you think of it as one person. Like a car, hundreds of parts, functioning in harmony. Therefore, you say one car. And therefore, here the words Khandaha and Advayaha both talk about divisionless. And then you might say, why two words to refer to one idea? Is it not Punarukti Doshaha? We'll say no, because one refers to internal divisions, one refers to external divisions. There is no division at all in Brahman, either internal or external. So with this, we'll stop for the day. Any questions?
Acharya ji, you said there are 4 definitions of the Mauna.
Three basically. We give three different, the 3 verses and 3 definitions.
Yeah, you gave 3 definite, 3 descriptions. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, today is a long day. So thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Acharya.
Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat
Purnamudachyate
Purnasya
Purnasya
Purnamadaya Purnam Devavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah
Om Tat Sat.
Om Namah.